Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. I want to say Shalom, Yakanakwath out there, doing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. I don't really have a title for this one yet. Kind of had one earlier a little bit. I didn't end up writing it down like a fool and kind of forgetting it. But you can see it right here. This is a post from Reddit. It came up on Popular. It's on the feminism Reddit, and it says Gen Z on gender roles concerning whatever that's supposed to mean. Not really proper English that they wrote it in, but whatever. I was reading it, and it's pretty curious. All right, and again, we're going to talk about a lack of accountability. Now, what is accountability? Here it is. My fingers can't type it out for whatever reason. It's from Instagram, but originally came from ABC News Australia. All right. Now it says a report by Movember, whoever that is, studied young men who regularly engaged with content from masculinity influencers. It found far more positive than negative emotional outcomes. It said 43% of the content made them feel motivated. 44 reported a stronger sense of purpose. But alongside these emotional benefits, the report revealed a troubling pattern in attitudes towards women. Now, this just goes to show you that men are starting to come to their senses. All right, and that might just be the title lesson. Men are starting to come to their senses, and we have three little bullet points here. It says 70% believed women had an easier time than men. 69 thought that women used feminism to keep men down, and 67% said women should fulfill their traditional role. All right, now this is accurate. Okay, this is a thought thought pattern that I've seen increasing as well. Among even the youth. All right, now it's been a while. Like I said, there used to be a couple of younger guys that used to come into my place that I work, and I haven't seen them. They ended up going to another place. Anyway, but I talked to them about these type of things. They talked about women and just how the way that women act, and men are really over it, man. And that's the thing that you women need to realize. You always bounce this back onto the men, right? But you're not really taking any accountability. You're not really examining yourself. Instead, you're pushing all the blame onto the men, right? So, and you could say, "Oh, you're lonely" or whatever. No, I already have a wife, so this isn't really a problem that affects me any. All right, and Lord willing, it doesn't, right? So, or any of the brothers, all right? We're not trying to go through separations or anything like that. Lord willing, we stay with our wives, all right? We love our women, right? And we damn sure don't want to go through anything like that again, all right? Especially, we're at the end. We don't have time for all that shit. And so you can't say, "Oh, you're just upset." No, it's not that. It's fundamentally true, all right? It's based in fact, all right? You can go and get a group of men, and the vast majority of them are going to agree with the sentiment that is within this Instagram post here. All right. And if you don't think that women have an easier time than men, I don't know what planet fucking Lulu you're living on. All right. But it's 100% true that women have an easier time than men. They have lighter prison sentences. All right. They're more likely to get the kid in custody. They're more likely to get money out of a separation. All right, they're more likely to. I could go on and on and on and on and on about the benefits of being a woman, right? Even if you look into the profane things that a woman could do. All right, they can, if all they have to do to get by really is just sell ass. All right, you can't sell booty hole pictures as a man and get by. All right, there's gonna be a couple queers out there that'll probably buy them. All right, but women, you're guaranteed at least a little bit of money. All right, you have so many more. And they talk about all these professions. Oh, predominantly male-dominated fields. Oh, male-dominated fields. What about hairdressing? Right? What about hairdressing? All right, what about the fashion industry? All right, you don't think about those things. Okay? Babysitting. All right, you don't think about any of those, the female-dominated fields. You're only thinking about the men. Right? Because That's how the mind of a woman works in Babylonian society, all right? And not just America, Babylon, but Babylonianized societies, all right? And pretty much every society out there has been Babylonianized, right? So here it is. They're not thinking about themselves. They're saying, oh, it's the men, the men, the men, the men, the men, the men. All right, and we can prove that because this is on the feminist Reddit, and right here, well, let's 69% thought that women use feminism to keep men down, and they do. They absolutely do. Now, feminism, remember, feminism originally, allegedly, was used for equality. It's past equality now. What can you not do as a woman, all right, that a man can do now? Okay? And you could say, oh well, I can't go and abort a baby. Well, as a man, I can't kill either. I can't murder either. All right, I'll get in trouble for that just as well. Well, it's my body, my choice. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's your body, but it's really not your choice because it's in your body. That's a different body that's within you. All right, that's a different body that's within you. It's not necessarily yours. Okay, that child isn't your body. Your body is your body. All right, you can chop off your titties and do whatever you want. Get a tattoo. All right, it's wicked. You're not supposed to do it. But, they're not going to, most of society isn't going to stop you from that, right? But when it comes to, your womb and that other person that's within you, yeah, there's some regulations on that, all right? If you don't like it, maybe don't get pregnant, all right? Don't have sex. It's that simple, all right? If you don't want to have the chance of getting pregnant, all right? Or you're not using condoms, whatever that is that you're not doing, just don't do it. It's that simple. All right, and well, women have to, but no, the men have to. You say all the trouble comes on women. No, as men, if you end up keeping the baby, we got to pay child support. All right, we got to pay for that child. All right, we got to do all these different things. All right, and fulfill a father-like role. Okay, so that's not just all on you. All right, you have a victim mentality, is what you have. All right, you have a victim mentality where you think that, oh, it's me, everything is against me. And that's not the case, right? And then 67% said women should fulfill their traditional roles. And that's a thing where it's like they consider it some type of like abomination to say. But men are required to fulfill their traditional roles. What is the traditional role? All right, let's go here. And let's go and get what is the traditional role of a man in short. Okay, traditionally, the role of man has been seen as a provider, bringing in resources to support the family, protector, ensuring the safety of loved ones, leader, guiding the household and making major decisions, disciplinarian, enforcing rules and structure, role model, teaching values like strength, responsibility, and integrity, which we're still to do. All right. How about women? All right, nurturer, taking care of children and family emotionally and physically, homemaker, managing the household and creating a comfortable home, supporter, standing by her partner and helping him succeed, moral guide, instilling values and manners in children, and caretaker, tending the needs of the family, often putting others first. So, same deal as with men. That's the old framework. Modern life throws tradition out the window in a lot of ways, but that's the classic mold. Well, it seems men's role is still in effect, but women have abandoned their role. It says, yeah, a lot of people feel that way. Like, men are still expected to man up and handle their traditional roles, provide, protect, etc., while women have more freedom to redefine or step away from theirs without the same kind of pushback. It's one of those messy cultural shifts. Women's roles have expanded big time. Career, independence, choice of how they live. But society hasn't always updated its expectations of men at the same pace. We need menism, all right? Masculinitism, all right? Because we're not being treated equal. Right? It hasn't changed for us, so we're being treated like lessers, right? So you get this imbalance where men still carry the pressure to be the rock, the wallet, the fixture, while women are encouraged to find themselves and live their truth. Some see it as freedom, others as an abandonment of duty. Depends who you ask and what lens you're looking through. Culture, religious, generational. One thing's for sure: it's a conversation people are still fighting over in real time. And it's true, no, because women have abandoned their role. All right, men are still required to bring home money. All right, be the breadwinners. All right, be the rock. All right, provide emotional support for their women. But women are not supposed to be mothers anymore, or be wives, or support their husband, or cook, or clean, right? And it's the men's fault, not the women. All right, it's the men's fault. Even though the women, the women's suffrage acts, all right, in the first wave of feminism and all that, separated. All right, they were the ones that went astray. Now they're blaming the men. Okay, here it is. This is like if the king is like, oh, in order to keep our kingdom, we're gonna have the army. We need you armies to rally together, and we need to fight this. All right, or else our kingdom's gonna be destroyed. And then all the soldiers back out, and then the kingdom ends up getting destroyed. And years down the line, they say, well, why didn't you help us, king? Why didn't you help us? Well, I told you that we needed to work together for this goal, or else it would be overturned. No, it's your fault. Don't blame it on us. Well, you're the soldiers. You shouldn't. No, it's you. You're the problem, right? And that's what these women do. That's a lack of accountability. All right.
Accountability.
The fact or condition of being accountable. Responsibility. What is accountable?
Accountable.
All right. Accountable of a person, organization, or institution required or expected to justify actions or decisions. Responsibility. All right. Liable, answerable. All right. We can go and ask right here. What does it mean if someone has no accountability? If someone has no accountability, it means they fail to take responsibility for their actions, decisions, or their consequences. The lack of accountability can show up in several ways. Blaming others when things go wrong instead of owning their own part. That's what these women do. They blame the man. Only you, man. You separated. It's your fault. All right. Making excuses rather than acknowledging mistakes. Avoiding consequences of their behavior. Breaking promises or commitments without explanation or remorse. Lacking follow-up on tasks or responsibilities. That's exactly what these women have done, all right? And you can get it right here, and then I'm going to get a scripture. It says right here, and then these young men will complain that young women don't want to interact with them and bring up the male loneliness epidemic, as if men are allergic to talking with other men about their issues. The thing is that it's not that, all right? Men can just not be with a woman, all right? Men don't need a woman. A woman needs a man. That's the thing. We don't need you. You need us. That's the difference, all right? And right there, they say, oh, women don't want to interact. And again, showing the women's side. They're not realizing, oh, and then these young women are going to complain that no man wants them. No, they're saying, oh, these young men are going to complain. All right, because it's always the men's fault. It's always the men's fault. It's so scary. And it's on the feminism, right? And, it's you can go through here. It says exactly most youth don't think like this, and they do. All right, they do. Most of them do. All right. And you say it's right here. It's a 70% of specially selected sample of insecure and misogynistic kids. Here's the thing that you don't understand. If this wasn't an ideology that's going out, there would not be passport bro culture. There would not be these people like I don't really like Andrew Tate. All right, I think he's a fucking dork. But there wouldn't be people like Andrew Tate, all right? Or there was another guy. He ended up dying. I can't remember his name, but he was a black guy, so-called. But, there wouldn't be any of these influencers, so to speak, all right, that are touching on these things if there wasn't a market for it, right? Men are getting sick of this shit, all right, because you women are completely out of order. Now, the first scripture that we're going to get is 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things be done decently and in order. And that's the problem with society today. It's not just with men and women, it's with everything. Everything is out of order, all right? You got men with men, homosexuality, which is out of order. You got people eating unclean animals, all right, which is out of order. You got women trying to put themselves over man, which is out of order. You got men dressing up like women, which is out of order. You got women dressing up like men, which is out of order. You got men with long hair, which is out of order, all right? Wearing makeup, which is out of order. People getting with little kids, which is out of order. And with animals, which is out of order. Everything is out of order, man. The society is all out of whack. It's out of order. And Babylon is the perfect name for it because Babel is a confused noise. People are confused. They don't know what's going on. All right, they're doing all sorts of wickedness and destroying themselves and going back to, and all of them, especially women, don't have any accountability for it. All right, they lack the accountability. They think that they're not the problem or that, they fail to understand why society is the way society is, why society is going down the drain. All right, they don't understand it. So they blame it on this or that, and they try to find an outlet, but they don't understand that these so-called freedoms that they have, all right, are really destroying them. All right, freedom is a great way to destroy yourself. Okay, with freedom, you can go and jump off a bridge. That's, you don't want to be too free. Too free, you'll lose your mind. You need to have order. You need to have order. You need to have order, because without order, you have. Let's ask ChatGPT. It should be able to get it. What's the opposite of order? And it starts with a C. Yep, chaos. All right, without order, you have chaos. What is chaos? Chaos is a state of complete disorder, unpredictability, or confusion where normal rules, patterns, or structures break down. It can apply to many different areas of life, from nature to emotions to society. How can chaos affect society? Social instability. When rules are unclear or ignored, chaos can lead to widespread fear, confusion, protests, riots, civil unrest, violence, crime surges. Everything we're seeing now. Collapse of institution, government corruption, judicial systems being unfair or inconsistent in their rulings, education and healthcare underfunded or mismanaged, loss of faith in authority, difficulty enforcing laws or policies, worsening inequality, market crashes, hyperinflation, unemployment, supply chain disruptions. Everything here is literally definitive of our society, because it's chaos. We're in chaos right now, and that's one of these the elite mottos is order ob chaos. All right, order through chaos. Chronic stress, anxiety, trauma, loss of identity, direction. All right, rise of extremism, authoritarian regimes, extremist ideologies, suppressions of freedoms in the name of restoring order. There we go, man. It's and that's what we have now, because going back to 1 Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. Nothing is being done decently and in order, all right, outside of this truth. All right, in this truth, we try to do everything decently in order, but outside of this truth, in the world, everything is complete fucking utter chaos, all right? Men under women, children over men, and there's order for a reason, all right? There's order for a reason, because without order, you get chaos, and society is plunged into fucking chaos right now, all right? And you can argue it and say this and that, whatever you want. Oh, yada, 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 religion. Oh, Hebrew Israelites this. Fuck you, fuck that. You don't understand. Oh, misogynistic, blah, 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 blah. Look at the world. Look at the world. Look at it. All right? Take off your rose-colored fucking glasses and look around. Are we in chaos or are we not? All right? Are we in chaos or are we not? A man and a woman are supposed to be together. They're supposed to be, working as a team together. That's not happening. Chaos. A man and a woman are supposed to be together. Now it's man and man. Chaos. Woman and woman. Chaos. Right? It's, you got all these, the Edomites on top and Jake on the bottom. Chaos. All right? Everything is out of the natural order. Everything is out of the natural order. Right? And, Jake is out of order. All right, Esau is out of order. You got Esau over here even out of order. They're over here trying to rally for Jake, and black rights. That's not. You hate Jake. What are you doing? Oh yeah. And you have half of them that are trying to do this. They don't want it. They want to be seen as progressive. All right, they really don't care about black rights at the end of the day. All right, to quote, what's that Malcolm X quote? They said, what did he say? Yeah, Malcolm X has a bunch of good quotes. I mean, he was still, a coon at the end of the day. All right, because they were all just setups at the end of the day. All right, they were either setups or all the people, black leaders were either setups or they were just didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. All right. Right here. There's a I'll try to find the quote, but this one's good right here. It says, I have more respect for a man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong, than the one who comes up like an angel and is nothing but a devil. And that's these, these liberals. They're like, oh, no, we love black people. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't like our people. You don't like so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. No, you don't. No, you don't. All right, we're just a part of your political scheme. That's all it is. Okay, that's all it is. Now, was it, he said something about, he said, was it Malcolm X, or was it, well, that's not the one, but this one says, we won't organize any black man to be a Democrat or a Republican because both of them have sold us out. Both of them have sold us out. Both parties have sold us out. Both parties are racist, and the Democratic Party is more racist than the Republican Party. And in a way, it's true, right? Because at least the Republicans, they'll be out there, oh, we don't like blacks or Mexicans or Native Americans. They'll just tell you, right? And that's racist. But it's almost more racist to go and, be like, oh no, these black people, they're being oppressed and we need to help them. That's white knighting. Okay, like you have that white savior complex. That's almost even more racist. All right, than to just leave us on our own. Right? So, anyway, I'm trying to find. I don't know if it was trying to see Malcolm X. Here it is. This is Malcolm X. It says, the white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. There you go. They'll be like, oh no, we're your friends. They don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit. All right, they don't care about you. All right, your black ass, your brown ass, they don't care. Okay, they don't care. And everything is confused now because you have these white people. They're following after these liberals. All right, these liberal politicians that really don't care about black people, but they're saying that they do. So these white people are saying, oh, we care about black people, but really deep down inside, you don't. If you had to choose between a white person and a black person, all right, person's life, you would always choose that white person. All right, always. Okay, always. So, and the difference is you just gotta admit it. So let's get a couple more scriptures, because I've been going for 23 minutes and I've only really got this one. But let's get a couple more because everything is out of order. Okay, now one of the ones that I want to get is 1 Timothy 2 and we'll start from 11. And it reads, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Okay, now here's something you need to learn. All right, subjection. What is subjection?
Subjection.
All right, the action of subjecting a country or person to one's control, the fact of being subjected. All right, domination, oppression. They say oppression, control, enslavement, right? They use all these different words because they don't like it. All right, subjection, being subject to someone is being under their control. Okay, you need to be in order. All right, let everything be done decently and in order. So in verse 12 it says, but I suffer not a woman to teach. So first of all, a woman is not supposed to be teaching at all, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. Okay, here's a big one, nor to usurp authority over the man. All right, to usurp means to take a position of authority unrightly. All right,
usurp.
To take a position of power or importance illegally or by force. All right, something that should not be done. All right, you shouldn't be doing it. But that's what happens. All right, is that women are now over men. All right, and you can the Bible tells you all these different types of things. There's nothing new under the sun. And have become servants for their sake, and it shows you that men have been like this for a while. All right, that simp mindset. Let me grab a drink. All right. In 1 Esdras 4:26, it says, "Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes." And that's the state that we're in not just America, but in any Babylonianized country. And like I said, most of them are, pretty much all of Europe has been mostly Babylonianized. A lot of the Asias have been Babylonianized. And now it's like, it's the thing to serve the woman, all right? Not the woman to serve the man, but the man to serve the woman. And the thing is that if a woman serves a man, it's a bad thing, all right? That's oppression. But if a man serves a woman, it's a good thing. It's a liberation. So it really shows you that these feminist concepts really don't have a basis in any fact. They're kind of just all over the place. Okay, leave it to women to have a unfunctional thought process. Really. So 1 Esdras 4:26 again. "Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes." And it's true. It's true. These women have it's women worship now. All right. And it's more important to get something for Mother's Day than it is for Father's Day. I'm gonna be celebrating any of those holidays anyway, but Mother's Day has a priority, all right, because women, all right, women, all right, and it's just ridiculousness. So verse 12 in 1 Timothy 2:12 it says, "But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence." Okay, so that's the other thing. Now you have these churches and even these some of these Hebrew Israelite camps, so-called. I don't even like to call them that because they really don't even deserve the title, because they just have a Hebrew Israelite flavor with just Christianity underneath. All right, it's like Scooby-Doo, when they're like, now let's see who it really is, and you pull off the cover and it's not a monster. It's really just the old man James from down the street. All right, and that's how it is with a lot of these Hebrew Israelite camps, man. If you're not learning from GMS, who are you really even learning from? You're not learning. There's a good one. If you're not learning from GMS, you're not learning. All right, or from one of their affiliates, of course. All right, that's who I learned from. I'm not a part of GMS, but that's who I learned from. I recommend you do the same. All right, they haven't ever led me wrong. And if you're not learning from GMS, you're not learning, right? Because a lot of these Hebrew Israelite camps, it's just like that Scooby-Doo bullshit, man. You say, "Oh, what is this, Hebrew Israelism?" And then you whip off that cover, you whip off that mask. It's, "Oh, it's the Christian church. Oh no, we should have known, and I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you goddamn Hebrew Israelites." And that's what it is. It's just Hebrew Israelite flavor, all right, sprinkled on Christianity. That's all it is. All right, they want a little bit of style, maybe a little bit some fringes, maybe to have the woman to cover their hair up. All right, no tattoos. And everything else can just be mostly Christianity. All right, call it any name you want, do whatever you want. Oh, we're not under the law, this and that. Oh, you have, or the other thing is that you have to keep every single law. All right, to 100%, not to the best of your ability, but you have to keep it 100%. You must keep it 100%. All right, and you can do that. There's another fallacy. All right, we can't. All right, if we could keep every law, then there would be no sin. And if there was no sin, we would not need Yahushai. And if we didn't need Yahushai, we wouldn't. First of all, the whole situation would dismantle itself. All right, because we wouldn't be under the curses, because we wouldn't have went off, because we wouldn't have sinned, and if we wouldn't have sinned, going all the way back, we wouldn't have even went off even in Genesis in the with Adam and Eve. All right, it was just never. All right, and that was going off before really sin was established like that. It was still going off, but if we just never went off, all right, or if we could just keep everything perfectly, then really like a good chunk of the Bible's events would have never even happened. All right, because a lot of the story follows that Israel went off, the diaspora, the scattering abroad. All right, the punishments for why we're like this. All right, the of course the curses. All right, and the sieges that happened on Jerusalem. A lot of if we could just keep I don't understand where these people that are these the statutes and the commandments. Right, with people like Bishop Nate. Yeah, we do have to keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments to the best of our ability and offend less. But we're not going to be able to keep it perfect, right? Because we're not perfect beings, right? We're not perfect, so we're not going to be able to keep it perfectly, all right? And that shows you that even in Hebrew Israelism, for the people that are calling themselves that, we got disorder. IUIC, out of order. GOCC, out of order. Sakari, whatever remnant is even left of that, out of order. All right. So it's the whole society is out of order, and they want to choose sizes and point blame at people when they don't realize that the fundamentals of society, the roles of society, the principalities really, and the ideologies are the reason society's out of order. All right, because the law's not being kept. All right, women aren't assuming their role, men are not assuming their role. All right, everything's out of order. There's not a thing about the society that is in order. All right, the only thing in order in this world right now, and it's really not of this world, it just happens to be reaching out to men that happen to be living in the world but not of the world, is this truth. That's the only anchor, all right, of non-chaotic energy, all right, for lack of a better word. That's it. It's just this truth. And women don't want to see it. They don't want to believe it. They think that, oh, well, men. Look at yourselves. Examine yourselves, man. Examine yourself. Okay? And men, they'll do the same thing and won't examine themselves. All right, why is my life so terrible? Here it is. You're a homosexual. You're using drugs. All right? You're having sex with animals. All right? You're working at a weird sex shop. Right? And you wonder why your life, and you're an atheist. Well, I wonder why your life is not doing so great. I wonder why. You know, you've surrounded yourself with wickedness, iniquity, and profanity. All right? And unbelief. So of course you're going to be all fucking confused hanging around that shit. You're going to start thinking, oh, maybe I'm a woman. Maybe I'm a woman, which is the most confused you could ever be. Maybe I'm a woman. Here it is. You got a penis. All right? You stand up when you go take a piss. All right? You got hair on your chest, hair on your balls, hair on your asshole. Right? You grow a beard. Maybe I'm a woman. Where did you get that ideology from? Where could you have possibly heard that from? That's bugged out. But the society is completely upside down, man. It's completely upside down, and you know, and that's what's happening. Like 1 Timothy 2:12 says, right in the mid verse, we'll read it again. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man. And we have that in this society. We have women being the authority over men. All right, usurping it. All right, unlawfully. It's not something that should be done, but that's what's being done. Okay. And there's a very strict order of how things are supposed to be done. Again, let everything be done decently and in order. But they don't want that. They don't want it. They want to do what they want to do. And people don't understand that when they do what they want to do, that's not going to be orderly. And then it's going to cause them chaos and tumult and hurt in their life. And who are they going to blame? They're going to try to blame anybody but themselves. Right? So let's continue with 1 Corinthians 11:3. And it shows you that there is an order. Order. All right? But you don't know what order is. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, or who you would call Jesus Christ, right? Which is wrong, because there's no J's or anything like that in Hebrew, and that's a Greek name, all right? And he was Hebrew and is Hebrew, all right? So it couldn't be Jesus Christ. Also, that word means dirty earth. So Jesus means dirty earth. So going back, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. Yahweh is who the world would ignorantly call God, right? So Yahweh, all right, the head of Hamashiach is God, all right? So the head of the Son is the Father. The Father is over the Son. The Son is over the man. And the man is over the woman. All right, and then that would make the only person the woman would be over is like a child, and then like that's pretty much it. And then animals into that. But yeah, you know, that's it. That's it. It goes Yahweh, then Yahushai, then man, then woman, then child, then under that you just have like dogs and stuff, right? Animals. So that's the order. All right, and going back in the first scripture we got, yep, we can pull it up faster this way. 1 Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. And when things are out of order, man, it completely, it throws off the balance of everything. Okay, it throws off the balance of everything. One more, and then I think we'll be getting around to closing out. Let's get well, you know, let's get well. I didn't get 1 Corinthians 11 and 9. Or 8. So, right here. 1 Corinthians 11 and 8. It says, "For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man." That's what you need to realize. And no, that's not we're not equal. No, there was never any basis of equality that wherever you got this idea of equality from. Men are not equal with women. Women are not equal with men. All right, heathens are not equal to Israel. Where's this ideology of equality? That's a man-made concept, equality. No, you can't have equality. All right, nobody can be on all the same level together. Nothing would get done. Nothing would get done. Okay, it fundamentally will not work. All right, everybody being on the same level. Someone has to be on the top. Someone has to be on the bottom. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. You can say it sucks or whatever. Well, this sucks. Yeah, and the way it works right now, it sucks. All right, but in the kingdom, it's going to be a better balance. All right, right now, it's a false balance. All right, and we can go and get that. A false balance. Right here. This is Proverbs 11 and 1. It says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight." And really, in this society now, it's likened to a false balance. It's out of order. All right, it's not right. Okay, and they're gonna in the kingdom. All right, you're gonna, and it doesn't. And again, mind you, the proper balance doesn't always mean they're on the same level. Okay, the proper balance is determined by the determiner. All right, how much this needs to be and how much this needs to be. If something needs to be 30%, and something needs to be 70%, that could be the right balance to that person. All right, but if you have something that's now 50-50, that could be a bad balance to that person, right? So it depends on what's needed. All right, and the society doesn't have what's needed. It's as women that are out of control, men that are out of control. It's bad. All right, it's bad, and there's no fixing the society. There's no way to clean this up. There's no way to make it go back. No, the only way to heal from this is for Yahushua to come back, burn this place up, deliver his elect, all right, and then for the right way to be established in the kingdom. That's it, okay? That's why we're looking forward to a new kingdom and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, because it doesn't dwell here, and it will not. It will not dwell here, okay? So, again, I'm going to close out with the first thing that we opened up with, because it's a big highlight of the lesson, man. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things, that's what you need to understand, all things. Let all things be done decently and in order. And the correct and decent and order way is exemplified through Yahushai, all right, through Yahweh Shai, all right, and, through these scriptures, okay? That's how you're supposed to be living your life. That's how things are done decently and in order. But when you start straying, that's when things start getting all messed up, and you have things like this, all right? So, how long have we went for? About 40 minutes? Almost. So, yeah, man, that's the lesson. Let all things be done decently and in order. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40, all right? In the correct and decent way to do it is through Yahweh Shai that has been exemplified through these scriptures that tell us what to do and what not to do, all right? As a matter of fact, one more scripture. Right here, 2nd Esdras 7 and 21. We'll actually go from verse 20. It says, "For there be many that perish in this life, because they despise the law of Yahweh that is set before them." Again, the law. That's where the order comes from. That's how you know it's decently and in order. 2nd Esdras 7 and 21. "For Yahweh hath given straight commandment to such as came, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient unto him, but spake against him, and imagined vain things, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds, and said to the Most High that he is not and knew not his ways. So again, went out of order. Went out of order. So that's what we're gonna close out with. Lord willing, it was edifying. Not sure. Again, not sure what I'm really gonna call it. Could be something like men are coming around to their senses or something like that. But we'll see. All right, it's all through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. Lord willing, it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.